Question that some people have been asking is, can you possibly imagine a world without mobile phones? Everywhere you go, you've got someone with a mobile phone. Even 10-year-old kids these days have a mobile phone. Some 7-year-olds, their parents will say, no, they need it when they go to school, just in case I need to get in touch with them. In just a few years, they have become absolutely indispensable in this country. A few years ago, you would have thought mobile phones, those brick-looking things that nobody wants to carry except those who feel it's part of the status symbol. But as the number of consumers using mobile services nears 7 billion worldwide, what sort of services are they receiving? Are they being treated fairly? These are some of the questions that are being asked. So the 2014 World Consumer Rights Day campaign, Fix Our Phone Rights, is devoted to tackling the issues that most affect consumers of mobile services. To have this conversation with us this morning, do we celebrate a day like Consumer Rights Day, or we just have it?
Well, we celebrate
We
it.
celebrate
we mark it.
We're marking. That's
because
more
consumers
like
do have a right.
do
or they
a
have
right.
rights.
So we're marking it rather than celebrating it. That might be the appropriate word for this. So we've got on my right-hand side, Shola Salako, who's the founder, president of Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria. Good morning and welcome, Shola.
Good morning, Kyle. Good morning.
And sitting just next to Shola here is Chief Deolu Ogunbanjo, who's national president, National Association of Telecom Subscribers. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good. And on the other side is Mr. You're not really on the other side, but you're sitting opposite. Not in that sense. So sitting on my left-hand side is Mr. Onu Uche, who's Executive Secretary, Consumer Rights Project.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure to have me here.
Great. Okay, let me start with Shola. When you look at the mobile devices and the services we're getting, let us domesticate it, to use a popular catchword in Nigeria. The services we're getting, what is being the response of the people that you have spoken to in the last 2 or 3 years?
Well, I don't even think we should go as far back as the last 2-3 years. We still had a forum yesterday. And the minute we started talking about telecommunication services, the whole hall went wild. Everybody's angry. Everybody has a complaint or the other. Everybody has a story about being exploited, being cheated. I didn't get the service I paid for. They take my money anyhow. People stop me on the road, put on my Facebook page complaints. It's almost as if people have forgotten that the fact that you even have the mobile phone is a great achievement. All they can think about is, it's frustrating my life. I'm losing money. I'm not getting the services I want to get. I can't reach anybody. People can't reach me. I'm paying for what I didn't ask for. I don't even know what they charge me for. The complaints are myriad. It's.
Okay, let me ask Chief Deolu Ogunbanjo then. You are National Association of Telecom Subscribers. You hear all of these issues that are being raised from what Shola is saying. When you look at what we're getting, are people expecting too much from what is supposed to be a fledgling industry in Nigeria that is less than 10, 15 years old? Or just about 10 years old, really?
2001 to now.
Okay,
it's about
13. Yes.
I must say that rightly they must expect services good services for whatever they have paid for. Funny enough, about 5-10% are postpaid and about 90% are prepaid. Now, I just must get good services. So, they're not getting as much as they really want.
They're not getting as much as they really want.
Precisely.
Okay.
They're being shortchanged.
They're being shortchanged.
Yes.
Okay. Let me take a couple of steps back then. Let me ask Onu Uche, Consumer Rights Project. We're marking, to use a Lera's word, we're marking Consumer Rights Day. What has changed in the last 1 year? Has there been any improvement whatsoever? Leave telecoms alone. In terms of consumer rights, has anything changed in Nigeria since we marked one last year?
Well, answering that question, I would say holistically, consumers have not really fared very well in this part of the climb. And the reasons are very, very many. You see, the 15th March of every year is marked as World Consumer Rights Day, and there is a global body called Consumer International, based in London, that seeks to set agenda for each year on what area to be dwelt on. This year, the emphasis is on telephone. Some years back, it will be on either water, money, or others. But I would say generally, looking at it under the context of the 8 basic rights which a consumer have, we have not really fared well in terms of those rights, which include rights to choose, rights to have information to goods and services, rights to consumer education, right to seek redress, right to safe environment, and numerous of those, about 8 of them. So in encapsulating those rights,
So
I don't
when
think we
you
have not fared very well.
So when you look at this, is it because the right policies are not there or because they're not being implemented? I know that anywhere else I go in the world, I walk into a shop, I pick up a shoe, a shirt, even something as mundane as biscuit. If I take it out of their premises and I taste it and I'm not happy with it, I can return it. But Nigeria, you go into a shop, you buy biscuit, you don't chop ham now.
There are many reasons that are responsible for that. And the major problem has been lack of consumer education. Most consumers in Nigeria are not informed. They are not aware of their rights. And any rights you are not aware of, you could not easily enforce them. So the basic challenge you are having is to ensure that Nigerians are aware of their rights. Secondly, also, the part of lackadaisical attitude on the part of consumers. You have just said something that if you travel abroad, that you see, perceive that something you have is of some standard nature, you take it back. But here in our client, you know the nature of an average Nigerian. We're always in a hurry. Nobody seems to, even among dedicated elites. That's why you could see if you go to a airport today to buy tickets, and somewhere along the line, when it gets to your turn, the price, the fare ticket just suddenly get increased. While you are still protesting, you see some people that will just tell you, please, if you know you are not in the area, please, we just give away the want to buy ticket. So an average an average consumer in Nigeria, we have that kind of that. We don't take things seriously, and that could account why providers of these services take undue advantage of that. And thirdly, also, we don't have adequate legislation that protects Nigeria in this part of the climate. What we have here in Nigeria are, what we call snippets on our laws. We do not have a comprehensive law like other regimes where you could say that these are things that constitute consumers' rights. But luckily enough, last week, the Lagos State government have passed a law, consumer protection, that seems to define most of these things. What constitutes a consumer right? What are the things that constitute when they are infringements? What are the redressal mechanisms? But in what we have in our law, as presently constituted, are things that you have recourse to, laws that these are product liability, law of contracts, all those snippets law that were inherited from the colonial master, and it doesn't work that way. That's why you could see, if you buy a defective product today, then maybe you see a foreign particle inside a bottle of, beef rage, even though it's cocked, not open. For you to establish liability that you suffered is a Herculean tax because of the nature of our law.
Shola, fix our phone rights. That's the theme internationally,
Yeah.
which suggests that it's not only Nigerians who are suffering this.
Yeah.
Yes. What are your thoughts about, we believe that over there, calls don't drop. You don't get charged unnecessarily. You don't get unwanted telemarketing harassing you in the middle of the night and all that. Yet this is an international theme. Should we be consoled by this?
Well, I don't know if we can say we should be consoled by it, because when you really look at these challenges, yes, they are global, but in terms of percentage, we seem to be on the negative end. It seems a lot higher here. There are more opportunities for exploitation here than there are in other climes where there are structures and the structures are active and the structures are effective.
And the consumers know their rights.
Yes, because look, you see, before the consumers, even if you know you're right, and there are no structures that back those rights, you can't enforce them. The challenge that Nigeria has is that a reporter once asked me, and I said to them, I said, we're just like sitting ducks here, because Nigeria is almost porous in practically every area. Where you have laws, they are not respected. Most of the laws are not even adequate. Like Uche said, most of the laws are archaic. They cannot take care of the IT world or the telecom technology world that we're dealing with now, because it doesn't capture any of those things. So the consumer here is in double jeopardy. That's how I would say. Because yesterday when we had the forum, one of the telcos actually came up and was explaining, okay, the reason why you have all this expense is because of infrastructural defects and all that and all that. And I said, cool. I don't have a problem with infrastructural defects. We're not the only ones who have infrastructural issues. And those infrastructural issues have been priced in the price, it's been costed in the price that you pass on to me. So it is actually the consumer who is paying the price for those infrastructural defects. And yet, in spite of paying that price, he's not even getting services for what he's paying for. So he's being doubly jeopardized.
Exploited.
Yes, that's the challenge. So what we want is let them fix those things that do not have to do with infrastructural defects or challenges. Let them fix those things that has to do with giving me access, for instance, to my call charges as a consumer. Right now, because I'm a prepaid customer, I cannot go to my service provider and say, I want my
printout.
Yes, they don't give you. And you don't really have to go. In fact, one of the guys on my show this morning actually said, you don't have to. That it can be programmed into the system for you to access it by just sending a text message. It will pull out your whatever to you. Those kind of access to my own information to know that I'm being appropriately billed. I don't know. So once you load the money as a prepaid customer,
that's it.
They deal with it anyhow. And you just watch your money go without anybody explaining to you why they deducted 5 naira here, 2 naira there, 10 naira there. You don't know.
Now, Chief, let's look at the regulator, for instance. Consumer rights, they fix our phone rights. What is your assessment of the NCC and its role as the regulator of these exploiters, so to speak, as Shola has just described them?
Well, the regulator somehow, yes, I must say they are trying. For instance,
I disagree with him. Just
I'm
for
coming.
the record.
They are trying. Hang on a moment. Trying in the sense that, for instance, they brought in mobile number portability, which allows you to choose, which is one of our rights.
And I have just spotted.
Oh, you did?
Yes, but go ahead.
So,
You don't Porto, yes. I'm very happy.
and again, when you look at the regulatory framework, even in other climes, like Ghana, for instance, and like the BlackBerry issue about 2-3 years ago, NCC in Nigeria is somewhat constrained. Also, the Ghanaian Telecoms Authority, I think 2 or 3 years ago as well, when one of the operators actually had service disruption. So I think the regulation says service disruption and not poor quality service. So that is why, for us, we want to try the acts in the law courts. And that is why we've gone to court last October. If you are saying the key performance indicators are not right with the network operators and they are found wanting, you are now sanctioning them through hard fines by, paying hard money. And not giving the subscribers that are suffering poor quality service anything.
Compensation?
No compensation of any sort, because the regulatory framework does not support it. So we had to go online to check a number of things. We now saw that it is service disruption.